All right, I clicked it. Let's see.
Dude, what is wrong with the zip tie? It will not
Yeah,
stay
yeah.
on my
Do
shit.
it. Do it zip tie while
I
we're
got,
live. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I got like Harbor Freight zip tie.
All
Oh,
right,
what you
I got
got?
shiny
let's
stuff.
see.
Dude, will not
Yeah,
stay
yeah.
on my
Do
shit.
it. Do it zip tie while
I
we're
got,
live. Yeah,
wait,
yeah.
I got
Oh,
like
wait,
Harbor
hang
Freight
on.
zip tie.
Yeah, yeah. We're live right now.
Oh, nice. We are
Hello.
live
We live.
and in color.
Everyday Audio is number 9.
Number 9.
Taylor Fade all the way on the other side. Yeah, number 9.
Dang.
That's wild.
Wow.
And the inventor of lithium.
The
is
inventor
in the
of lithium,
building.
the guy who invented it.
Mr. Kevin Ross in the building. How you doing, sir?
Good, good. How are you guys?
Oh,
Pretty good. We're doing pretty good.
oh my God. I've got to mute this thing.
Yeah. You gotta admit that.
Hang on a minute.
It's not like it's our 9th show and we know what we're doing
Oh,
already.
that ain't the one I needed.
This is just a. How you doing, Dylan Davis? First, Joaquin Juarez, bro. You not first this time? Oh man.
Oh, there we go. Holy hell, that was crazy.
Oh, you had your YouTube.
I had the
open?
YouTube.
Yeah.
Fucking.
I did that
stupid.
for like 2 seconds. It hurt my ears. Kevin
Nothing
Ross.
Kevin.
Yes, sir.
Oh, Dylan Davis. is
What's
first.
what's going on? What's going on?
What's up with you, man? What's happening? Can you hear us? Hello, are you there, Kevin?
I'm here. What's up?
Oh man.
Hey.
Uh,
Are you? You got your chat up and all that?
I got blank screen on the chat. Maybe that's why I'm clueless.
Yeah, because ain't nobody in there.
Yeah.
Nobody loves us.
Oh,
we got 9. They coming out.
where do you see
I changed my
people?
Google password,
You have to go to the
so
live chat.
now I have to log in everywhere I go.
Where?
Like did you open the video that we're playing in?
Where?
Go to
Are you?
Everyday Audios on YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm trying. My mouse is stuck. My mouse sucks.
This is why we don't do one every week anymore, guys. So,
Right.
I suck.
Oh Lord, have
but
mercy.
yeah, we're gonna get into some battery talk today.
Big bro still pimping. Who that is? Who that there?
I can't help but not look at this mic. It's right in my face. It's very odd. Y'all can't see it, but what is MiSolar? He's looking for competitors, bruh. I seen the post the other day. MiSolar, bruh.
Yeah.
Competitive
What do you guys
team.
think about that? Like, what?
I honestly would never sponsor anybody because this just not worth it. It's just not.
No.
I'm sorry.
I mean, they
they are. I know I'm joking, but
yeah, there are.
But most people
benefits,
that's gonna ask probably.
most people.
they
Where's the
just
damn YouTube link? My mouse is not working.
Everyday audios,
I'm
crackhead.
gonna send it to you in the Facebook post.
Yeah. I'm trying to get there. Oh, now you. That's why I like shortcuts.
I don't know who Dylan Davis is. I'm joking.
Dylan Davis.
He's on my friends list.
All right.
He likes
So
everything
now
I post.
you. All right.
You got it yet?
I muted myself or muted the YouTube page.
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. We're
That's
banging on
key
all
right there.
cylinders.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're all.
back in it.
Okay, we're live. Hey,
Cut
let's
it.
just edit the first 5 minutes
Cut it.
out.
We're going now.
We're good. We're good. So you're looking for team members, huh? How many thousands of messages did you get behind that?
A lot that I didn't get to.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot. That's what I was looking to see if somebody wanted to like step up, somebody wanted to be a team person, somebody wanted to kind of take initiative and take on that responsibility. Personally, I keep spending more and more of my free time, thinking and doing solar stuff. And, I love audio, but, it's hard to talk to all these people every single day. There's so many out there that need help, that have questions, and I go through what I can every day and get done what I can. So,
Yeah. I don't think a lot of people. I don't think a lot of people realize that 99% of your business is solar,
yeah.
and like car audio is just a very small percentage of what you do. Even though it was a larger percentage, right?
Yeah, the battery thing is the main thing right now, and solar is something I'm getting more and more into. But in reality, batteries are a foundation for everything. If you got to store the energy, if you want it, how do you want it? How fast do you want it? That's what dictates what you get. Yeah. And there's a lot of options out there. It's not just lithium as the solve all, cure all. when it comes down to money and cost, it's getting up there as the best. It's hard to beat. It's hard to compete. Lead prices are just going do 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 do. You know, it's what are you gonna do? You find and look for the best product you can and do what you can.
Can you build like an Elon Musk Giga battery thing? What is that thing he calls the one in the garage?
Gigafactory?
Yeah, no,
The Tesla
battery.
Homo.
The roof?
No. He's got this huge like refrigerator sized lithium that goes in your garage to store all the solar, so to run your house at night. What is that one?
I don't know.
The power bank or some.
He's got the home wall or whatever. Power
Yeah,
wall.
I guess so. I don't remember the name of it, but can you build? Is it just a shit ton of 18650s or?
Exactly.
He orders some used off of eBay. Plug it.
There's a bunch of headway cells.
Resells.
Oh,
them.
man.
That's all Musk is. He's a reseller.
Oh man.
That is Elon Musk your hero? Is that how?
No.
No,
It's not. I mean, without PayPal, I started slanging stuff on the internet when I was 14 using my dad's name on PayPal. You know, you gotta do what you gotta do when you're 14.
That's fun. You are.
Need candy money.
Yeah, you're still young. You're still young to be big.
29.
Like,
Jeez,
oh, you're 29? Oh,
Yeah, I know. I look 18.
30 is death, just to forewarn you.
Oh yeah.
Everything goes downhill.
Speaking of
Oh, nice shirt.
OG right here.
Yeah.
Hey, this is one of my favorite shirts, dude.
It
I
looks slick.
only bring it out on special occasions.
My girlfriend wears mine because they don't fit me no more.
Yeah. Oh, you got swole up?
Yeah.
No, I just got.
Wrong
They
spot.
got shrunker.
Hmm.
Shrunker.
That's all
Yeah.
that shrunker.
Smaller.
Yeah,
That's all that stress.
that's gonna be a
solar
highlight.
stress.
That's gonna be a highlight video. Shrunker.
Shrunker.
Going up those ladders.
Oh yeah, putting solar panels on your roof, huh?
Yep.
Hmm.
So what
times.
do you have storage for those?
No. I actually I did my parents' house with some storage, so they have battery backup. I'm grid tied. I was gonna do an off-grid setup for my garage, do something so I can run like a welder out there if I wanted to charge my car off-grid. So that's kind of like next year's project probably, but you only can do so much, and you got to do there's so much to do already.
Yeah, everybody's plate is full, dude. I know the feeling. I have so many problems. I walk in my garage and I'm like, where do I start? You know?
Right.
So you have an electric car too?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, he
Chevy
does.
Bolt, 2014. You know, that's the coolest thing is like most people are like, oh, I run, 5,000 watts. I'm like, yeah, that's cruising 35 miles an hour, smooth
Word.
sailing. I'm cool with that,
Dude, it trips
Sometimes-
me out. It trips me out when I see the kilowatts when I mash the gas, dude, for real.
Right.
160K.
Oh, you got lucky. I get 114 at best.
Yeah, y'all ain't got shit on me. Ain't none of y'all.
No, don't.
160K all day.
That's crazy.
A friend of mine up here just got his Model 3. Took us for a ride. It was
Oh,
the
no
long
shit?
range version. Yeah, it was pretty
Is it-
smooth. It was pretty smooth.
Is it gnarly?
Cleaner, like a lot less things, visually, and in my Volt, I got dash clusters, everything is kind of futuristic looking. This thing has like none of that, just got a giant screen right in the middle, and that's it,
I don't know. I kept watching videos, I was trying to decide between it and the Bolt, and I kept looking at it, and I don't know if I'd like that, but I do like the big touchscreen
Yeah, it's
on the
slick.
Bolt, but I like having a gauge cluster, traditionally and all that noise.
Yeah.
But speaking of my Bolt, somebody hit it the other day.
What?
The thing's not even 2 months old, dude. Somebody hit me in the parking lot.
It was so stupid looking.
So stupid, dude. I got surveillance video of it. I'll send it to you. It is retarded. There was like no one around me for like 6 spots.
It's like you parked it.
And he gave
It's like you're doing it with a new car. You park in the back, so nobody scratches you. He just went.
I know. And it's not like I was parked like an asshole. I was just like on the line at the last spot in the row on purpose,
Too funny.
So that's actually why I made that post the other day about enhance.
Yeah.
Enhance. I want to pull that license plate off of that car so bad, dude.
Yeah.
So bad, so I can.
That video is so trash looking.
Oh my god, it's like potato.
Yeah.
Serious?
why even have security if you?
Yeah, what's the point? What's the point? Yes, somebody hit me. That's
Yeah,
about all it
that's-
proves. Yes, I'm
You
not
can't even see
crazy.
the car move. It's just
No. You can barely pick out what kind of car it is.
Yeah. So yeah, let's go. Let's
Anyway.
start backwards, huh?
Yeah, let's
Start
work
backwards.
backwards.
Yeah, let's start backwards.
So you invented lithium.
Yeah. So tell us how you invent. Did you dig it out of the earth,
Did-
or
You have like a
No.
shovels or like
No.
on that show, digging that gold digging
yeah,
show.
you have to
on-
melt it down before you work with it, or
like big gloves, smelting
Smelting.
lithium,
You have a
making.
Not here. Not
No.
here. No.
what's that called?
We leave that to the experts.
Yeah.
Not a faunery. What's it called?
Refinery.
No. Ah, I'm gonna be
Smart.
mad.
No,
Where
no,
they
you're
melt
not
it?
gonna-
Where they melt that?
Melting.
Yeah, but where do they do it at? A forgery?
Uh,
Forgery? No.
Foundry.
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 Nailed it.
What's up? I'm here
5
for you,
points.
cuz.
5 points, Taylor. No, but what you came out first juice box, right? Is that what it was?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
How'd that come about?
So, I work every day in a brick and mortar battery store. So every day I'm dealing with different situations, different customers, different applications. My passion has always been audio. The reason I walked into that store was in 2011 to get a sealed lead acid battery, high rate, so I can use it for my system. And I used, car audio classifieds back in the day, caraudio.com, all those forums. I did my research. I learned what I could. I actually started college going to be a chemist, and then so I was taking chemistry classes. So I was into that, and I did my due diligence and started coming up with creative ideas of different situations, different things coming out. So I started experimenting, started buying samples, and started off being cheap. I tried to get the what looked like best on paper. You would be like, oh, this is super great stuff. You go play with it, it's garbage. You're just like, what? I got played, It's like, So you start learning more and more, and I came across lithium iron phosphate, and I realized the life cycle advantage of it. And I'm like, this is really dope. What would be really cool is you don't need as much of it to do what you need to do in audio. So you could save kind of money, but it's really expensive. So it's not really, you got to weigh your options. And so I started playing around more and more, and I came across it was an A123 cell. It was the 32113 cell. The big giant orange yellowish cell with terminals, aluminum on one end, steel on the other. Play with different couple configurations, got down the science of everything. Did some testing, and T-Fade hit me up and said, "Hey, how's that prototype coming along?" And I let him go play with it, and he really liked it. And I was like, it shows on paper, it shows on the tester. This thing is badass. Let's show everybody. So I started going ham, and I started doing more and more research and perfecting it. I was doing them like one off in the beginning, per order, and kind of grew from there. And then as time goes on, different applications come around and different products come out. In about 2014 and 15, I started playing around with some LTO or lithium titanate cells. The ones I was actually using were more for storage bases. They were really expensive, but they were 20,000 life cycle cells. So it was insurmountable.
As opposed to what on the life?
Life PO4 in ideal situations, 2,000 cycle lives. That's a low, like a 1.3C charge rate, 1C discharge rate. Better cells can handle more abuse, but the heat and the exhaustions, the cycle, the duty cycle of using it will really dictate the life of the cells. And that's what really got me away from Life PO4 was the duty cycles and the charge rates that these batteries experience. Everyone's seeing these beautiful discharge rates, but they're not seeing the tax that's happening on the charge side. It's not going to kill your battery today, but over 8-9 months of that abuse, cold weather comes around, warm weather comes around, it eats batteries, it kills them. And these things are not cheap. People need to, learn that. And that's something I've learned, as selling products, seeing in different climates, what happens to them. And I take all the information I get to make the next better product and make the next step to fix anything that can be fixed or improved on.
So just for reference for the people at home, AGM, 4 or 500 a deep cycle, 400 or 500 cycle
Yeah.
span.
If you're going, yeah, if you're going, you know, like say down to 40% depth, you know, don't go below like use 60% maybe. Don't go. You can go a little bit below 50%, but once you start breaking that 50% depth of discharge, that life cycle goes down.
So we got 400 or 500 for good deep cycle AGMs. How many for life?
Life PO4, like I said, ideal conditions about 2,000. What you'll see is in like a lot of these.
I mean, it's still pretty good compared to.
Yeah, but you got to think here. I'd love to show this. There's a prismatic green cell that I've seen a lot of DIY guys that were using. It's got high life cycles. It's 4,000 life cycle cell. But when you charge at a 1C rate, it's only like 500 life cycle cell. And that's what people don't like. This is a manufacturer that states that spec. It's a 10C cell. So if somebody goes and buys a 10C discharge cell thinking they're getting what they need, sure, it can handle a 5C max charge rate, but they don't realize it can handle it, but
it's wrecking it.
Well, yeah, it's the wrong application. You got a great battery for storage, low discharge, you know, and it can handle high burst rates, and that's for
like when your AC kicks on.
Right. Or you got power backup because you have, you know, so during the day it can trickle charge back up, and you have a power outage for 10 minutes, it kicks on, or a water pump, sub pump, you know, things of that nature would be great. So there's a lot of different applications, and that's why there's so many different options. But to do the right application, the right product is time consuming and a lot of work.
So when you say life cycle, because I'm retarded, and I know there's other retarded people out there. So our regular AGM rests at 12.8. So you're talking about if you dip it below a certain voltage, that means one life cycle? Is that what?
So I can do a 10% depth of discharge, 1,000 cycles. So what I could do is discharge it 10%, 500 times, and then charge it that 10% back up 500 times. Okay. That's 1,000 cycles. So you can see advertised cycle lives rated differently. Most people see an 80% depth of discharge, 2,000 cycle life.
What is he's asking? What is let's call it a 50% depth of discharge on an AGM?
50% depth of discharge AGM resting is around 12.2.
Yeah,
jeez.
I know it's
no, but that's not under load. That's just resting. That's not after it being rebounding at rest.
Everybody at home is like, dude, I love my shit to tens.
Yeah, no.
So I got like 2 life cycles. I run up to 9 volt.
No, so like you'll see AGMs actually in those conditions, that 10% depth of discharge actually do pretty fairly well, and that's why it's a good fit for our application. What the issue is the recharge rate is your limiting factor. 110 amp hour battery can only take 1/3 its capacity, which is a high rate for that battery. A heat is going to build up and it's going to get warm, degrade its life cycles if you do it continuously at that. But you got a 35 amp input. That's nothing in these high output generation days where people got 3-4 alts. That's doing nothing. It doesn't matter how much alt you got. Your battery's just sucking from a little straw. It doesn't matter how much reserve you have. So that's where my product, where the high recharge rate is a great fit, sucks all that juice right back up. It's got a 1-to-1 ratio, just like supercapacitors. So you have that fluid dynamic. You don't get into the depths of discharge. You're not deep. You know, with AGM, you could discharge all day, but you'll never get back all the way up to full. That's why people have chargers. They maintain it every weekend after shows. That's what all these people used to do.
Are you saying alternators don't charge batteries?
They input what the battery is asking, and they will only at a max. You know, they have max limits. The resistance. Everyone knows Ohm's law, or they should know Ohm's law if they do car audio. And every battery has a forward resistance and a reverse, resistance, and it changes throughout its charge cycle. So when it gets full, it's like closer to full, it will take less and less. The resistance, there's less spots to connect those electrodes.
You hear that, Skip?
Nope.
Remember at the end of Scotty's show, he started talking all that shit, and he said that shit backwards, and I was like, wait a minute, you're saying that backwards, right? And you were like, you sound like an idiot. Shut up. Dude, and then when he left, I'll be talking again.
You don't argue with Scotty Johnson.
No, I definitely was not going to try to correct him.
Even when he's wrong, he's right.
I think he was just
Yeah,
we were talking too much and somebody said it backwards or I had it backwards. But look, Kevin, since this is the name of this show is Everyday Audios, we've mentioned
Yes,
it a couple of
sir.
times already. So for those out there Skip, that don't know what C rating is, just break that down super quick.
I Googled it yesterday, and I still don't understand it.
Just break it
rating.
down like super everyday audios terms for people watching so they know what we're talking about.
This is the perfect C ratings. You can use them across all chemistries. They have, like I said, there's a charge C rate and a discharge C rate. That's relative to its capacity. That's what C stands for, is capacity. So if a battery is 110, now here's a side kicker. AGMs, or lead acid batteries, for most matter, are rated in a 20-hour rating, meaning its capacity is discharged from full to empty over 20 hours. 110 amp hour battery takes 5.5 amps continuously for 20 hours until it's completely discharged. That's where the ratings come from.
10.2, is that what it 10.2 or 10.8? What am I thinking?
I don't know what you're thinking.
The discharge, like the voltage at the end of
the 20 it depends. So it depends on what if it's a flooded deep cycle AGM. There's little different voltage differences between that. The lead market was where people got, back in the I say in the day, pre-lithium mainly, because that's what people play with now. Is everyone fine tweak the chemistries, and this is what I was kind of bringing up before we went live. The whole chart thing. So different elements offer different voltage differences. The higher the voltage difference, essentially you could have more energy in the same amount of space. And so for our cell phones and our everyday things where the whole market is basically driven based on energy density. I look at power density as our number one importance. And that's why I look at things completely a different spectrum. And I'm working from that one up. So most marketing like Samsung, LG, that's why you don't see them making a car audio battery. They want a battery that's going to hold as much power in the smallest amount of space and for the cheapest amount of money. So that's why you see lithium ion or lithium manganese or cobalt being used. That's like in our cars or cell phones or laptops. It's a lot cheaper to manufacture, but it doesn't have the life expectancy or handle the high charge or discharge rates or C rates. So back on topic, different elements can handle different rates of transaction. So certain things like iron is very stable and can handle higher rates of transfer. And that's why lithium iron phosphate has a lower voltage potential than your cell phone. So that's like the A123 cells or the headway cells, or they make them prismatic. There's all different kinds out there. But that's why they have a higher cycle life. They can handle the duties longer. But they do it at a lower voltage potential. So you sacrifice energy density. In return, you get a higher power density. So capacity is relative, is the C in C rate. And then the ratio is the charging or the discharging usually. So 110 amp hour lead battery has a 5C discharge rating on most standard AGMs with high rate capabilities down to about 10 volts. That's what you'll see pretty standard across the market. And
it's a multiplier, right?
Yeah, so 550 amps, exactly. It's like an algebraic equation, 110 times 550 amps to 10 volt in ideal conditions. Temperature will vary that. And there's a lot of factors that go into all this stuff. But you can use C ratings though to compare between a 12 volt AGM or a 12 volt lithium battery.
How come we never heard about C? Like, why didn't we know this before lithium hit the market? How come the lead acid guys didn't tell us, hey, this is a 5C battery?
Because they don't want you to know. Because they don't want to advertise it's a 5C battery. When you discharge at a 5C rate, you're only going to get about 50% of the usable capacity. The rest is lost as heat, damaging the battery. So, like, when I private label AGMs, or I will rebrand AGMs, I make sure they're able to sustain a high discharge rate of 15 minutes, meaning they can discharge the full rate of the storage in 15 minutes safely. And in audio, it's capable. Somebody can, like T-Fay with his TFE. I know he took the full throttle Group 31 and he ran it on his TFE and clamped about 5K out of it. And that thing dipped to the tens, and and it will do that, and it can sustain that and not die. It's a heavy cycle life in that environment, battery. It's just a lot of weight, a lot of space, and doesn't take a lot of input charge. So every application's got its right product.
So let's say we have a 5C. Let's say like a Group 31, usually about 100 or 110 amp hours, and we say it's a high discharge 5C. So we get 500. Call it 500 amps. Yeah. What can we get? What can we stuff back into it? 35 amps? 50
35 amps? Oh, so 30. Like, yeah. In the beginning,
like
if it's completely dead and you got it in a bucket of ice, you could probably get 50, 60 amps into it. But no one's doing that. It's, if you wanted to do it for a test, sure. But 35 amps is about the most you want to dump into that safely. And once it gets to about 80%, you're going to have to roll. You ain't going to take that kind of charge rate. It's going to definitely be a lot less.
Well, yeah, the resistance is going to go up, so it's going to kind of tell whatever's getting stuffed in there to back off too, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the resistance builds up, so that's why the amperage will go down. So, like, that's why sorry, my girlfriend walked in. She distracted me.
Is she nude? Nude.
No, she's got a bag of food, though.
Oh, even better. Even better for me.
Hey, for you, what?
Give me it.
Put her on. Give her the headphones real quick. I want to know what it's like living with the inventor of lithium.
God.
I mean, like,
just
autographs everywhere you go.
There's just sparks going everywhere.
She will ruin
I would
my
have like
life.
a giant Shazam tattoo across my chest, dude.
Come here. They want to know what it's like living with me.
Oh, he actually did it.
Yeah, he did.
It's awesome.
Is it?
Is it?
Yeah.
Do you guys like sign autographs everywhere you go?
I
mean, people are
mean,
probably hounding him all the time, like paparazzi.
He's a superstar.
More like Facebook be hitting him up like every second of the day. Mr. Popular over here.
Yeah. Does that get on your nerves? Or does he put it away when y'all are eating and stuff like that? Like,
yeah, he's definitely a gentleman.
Oh.
Yeah.
You're making up stuff for this show.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious. I'm serious. He is a gentleman. All right, I'm going to give you back to Kevin.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks for stopping in.
My dad lost.
Subscribe. Tell her to subscribe.
Nice talking to y'all.
Yes, ma'am.
Subscribe. Hit the bell. Hey, speaking of that, like super crazy dumb aside, like if anybody in the comments wants to comment on this, and obviously if you two of you feel free to comment. When you're watching a video and you aren't subscribed to this person, does it help for them to be like, make sure to hit subscribe to the channel and hit the like button and they're like, does that help?
I almost
like,
never do it when they ask for it.
Oh my God. It's like, it makes me not want to. Like, I was gonna subscribe until you told me to, and now I'm not.
Yeah, I know. I feel bad.
So aggravating. Like, do people not know how YouTube works by now? Killing me.
So
anyway.
When you're charging a battery,
yeah,
because I've done it. Yeah, shut up, T-Fade. You know. You're not just supposed to look at the end voltage of it doing stuff. You're supposed to look at the amps going into it so you don't damage it. I was always taught, you just watch the voltage. You don't go over, them big stupid floor chargers.
Here's my issue. Everybody's learning from like backwards ways about all this. They need to understand fundamentally what's going on. And then the concept, if you get the concept, you can apply it for everything. But people try to say like this brand of battery and this brand of battery is so different. And yeah, there's differences, sure. But it's on a molecular level and it's going to affect this end performance and blah, blah, blah. But like what people need to realize is like if you understand that this is a 12-volt product, its operating range is from here to here doing this kind of result. So if you're in this application, see in audio, here's the thing. In audio, we want the highest voltage input because our power supplies are unregulated and these Korean and Brazilian amps usually don't have them. There's no upregulation or fixed voltage that this output voltage gets to see. And that's directly correlated to your end output or your current output or your just
wattage.
Audio wattage, whatever. Yeah, it's just power, just straight musical power. And now obviously to get the higher voltage, you have to get generation that's produced at that higher voltage. Capacitors store energy at that higher voltage range. And, for example, the reason I like, the LTO talk, there's a large DIY community using these cells, but what they don't really realize, I don't use 2.3 volt LTO cells. I use a different chemistry LTO that's actually 2.4 volts. Therefore, my 5S configuration gives me a half volt higher under load operation
nice.
comparative. So even the C ratings, while you can have direct correlation on the amperage output to the size of the battery, mine will operate at a higher voltage. Actually, powered is usually, like watt hours is usually a measurement. And so that's actually voltage times the amperage per wattage. So instead of amp hours, in lead acid, everything's 12.8, voltage is, fully charged, whatever. In lithium, like my product is a 12 volt nominal product. Lithium iron phosphate is a 13.2 volt nominal product. And some vary just slightly. I think Headway actually might hit 12.8 volt nominal.
When you say it's a 12.0 nominal, is that what you said?
Yeah.
So that's where it rests, 12.0?
No,
I don't have one for anybody watching. I don't have one yet because Kevin won't
fully
give me one.
Maybe I will.
I actually wanted to do one in the Volvo, but I have the 20 and the 40 and the others laying around, so why not use those? But I do want to play with one of those little guys. Anyway, what's the resting on it?
So fully charged, between 14.0 fresh off charge, 13.5 after about a day, is still full saturation.
I thought these were better with AGMs though.
So yeah, to get about to 90% capacity, it's going to be right there at about 12.8 to 13.2. So what happens is the difference is lithium iron phosphate's nominal resting voltage is voltage difference. Is a greater potential, so it will drive more current to the AGM as a float charge, and in essence drain itself to that. Unfortunately, lithium iron phosphate has a great property of maintaining its voltage throughout its state of charge. However, it hurts it in this case with AGM or lead acids. It will be near fully discharged, about 10-20% state of charge when it does get to that 12.8 state. And likely, if you got something sucking down, you either have a parasitic draw, which most audio systems have some sort of parasitic draw, and also a poor battery that's taking in a larger current draw because it has self-discharge. Nice. So that's what happens over time.
Those are like bonus depth of discharge cycles, like overnight, right? If you're not maintaining shit.
Exactly.
So that's not even like beating up on it. That's just
check them off.
Right.
Check them off.
They're like a punch card, cuz.
Yeah.
Like free Subway sandwich. And if you drive like a 1992 Explorer like Brett's, you're gonna have a parasitic draw one way or the other. So
I don't know. I still haven't found it.
It's trouble.
My Festiva is great. That doesn't cause me no problems.
Come on, you have a Festiva?
Yeah, it's in the back.
You're as bad as I am. I can't keep up with all your cars. Do you still have that like Lambo door CRX?
Fortunately, I gave it to a young man who's into audio. He's deployed, I believe. So he's got it parked behind his aunt's house. But he's got it. I got his 4-channel. It's an Ampere 150.4 sitting here waiting for when he gets back.
That's cool.
But yeah, he worked at Buffalo Wild Wings, saved up. He did payments.
That's
I think it was $200 every 2 weeks. And I think he missed a week or two, and it took him a little bit. But I just, he was really nice. He met me in the it was dead winter. That thing went whoop, 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 started up. It had like 2 inches of snow out, like 18 degrees. There's no heat. I tried to tell him like this is not. It was his first car too, but
wow.
Yeah. So he's happy. I'm happy.
I love CRX. I can deal with no AC.
Half price boneless wings tomorrow from Buffalo Wild Wings. We're not sponsored by them, but just so y'all know.
No, this message brought to you by
I'd be
Buffalo
in.
Wild Wings.
Where's our coupon?
I can deal with no AC. I cannot deal with no heat. Sorry. I mean, it's not even doesn't even really get quote unquote cold down here, but dude, I couldn't do it. Yeah, it's terrible.
Oh, it gets cold here.
I guess
it's probably just because we're so 90 degrees all the time here.
Yeah.
That 60 is just brutal.
Oh my god! If it starts with a 5, forget about
I don't
it.
go outside.
I'm not going out. You can't wire stuff up with gloves. Like, how do y'all do it elsewhere in the world? You know, it's like my hands. Oh, he got him the beer delivery.
Here come the
Man, you gotta
secrets
keep
are
her
coming
there.
out. Secrets are coming out.
Look, she's making cameo appearances on the.
Oh, like
bringing
you're making cameo appearances.
Yeah.
bringing beers and stuff.
Good. I gotta edit it so it says "and girlfriend" on the top up there.
Yeah. P.S. That's just the first guest appearance of a guest on any podcast.
Yeah.
First guest appearance of a guest on any or whatever they said.
Congratulations.
It's gonna be a thing now.
It probably will be the thing. That's fantastic. What are you drinking? Corona?
Yes, it's a Corona.
No lime. You man after my own heart.
We have lime.
No.
It's just in the fridge.
No, can't have it. Sorry.
I have it if you want it.
No lime. We don't have scurvy around here.
I don't have one on mine, but I don't need.
Hi, Mike.
Hey, so drop it on us. How do you feel about all these DIY guys doing the headway cells and the
Taylor said
I don't know whatever the crap
I wanted the
whatever the crap
I will tell you this.
Hank is doing and I mean all these IEDs people are wiring up.
I built plenty of IEDs myself.
I know. I like you have at some point you have to trust someone else to do these things and like you know what I mean, like
I'm that guy.
You're my guy. I trust you to do those things and then give me something that's not gonna murder me.
That's why I was scared. That's why I was scared of caps for so long.
I finally
bought the XS enclosed.
I know. Like, so sketch. They are so sketchy.
Burning my nut hair off. Sorry, it's a family show. It's sketchy. Batteries are sketchy.
They are sketchy.
And then they got dudes doing the high voltage stuff. You see what happened with
I built. You know, Sanchez. You know how we were talking about the Tesla Powerwall.
Oh my God!
His 20. We got 20 kilowatts of or near 19.2 kilowatts of audio out of that high voltage Terra. I was impressed,
dude. And that battery was not
stressed.
Very big. Yeah.
It's not. It was at max continuous discharge rate, 90 amps. It was producing 20 something, 22. I forget what I kept. It was pretty efficient, like 90% that amp ran. It was pretty crazy to see.
How big was that battery that he had? It wasn't. I mean, it was.
It's like, not big.
Like a couple of G31s, probably. Huh?
It's not even that thick. It's only 4.5. I don't even think I made it 4.5 inches thick. Let me think.
That's crazy.
It's probably. It's 5 strips of 60 volts. And then I've had to fix it twice because terminal issues. The vibration, because we mounted it or put it right on the box, and I just did direct wire leads, and the terminals are axle leads on the cells. And at the time I hand built it, so I had to repair that.
Well, you were hand building everything in the beginning, huh?
Just most of my prototypes are hand built, yeah, for sure. Then CNC gets involved. Now it's all PCB. I actually got, some shiny stuff.
Ooh.
So this is what the battery is actually built on. They actually, if you're familiar with how boards are look like caps, they actually look kind of like 18650 size like caps. And they both positive and negative terminals are on the top. They go right onto the board.
Is that yours or?
That's the MiSolar 12 volt, 16.5 amp hour modules. That's what the boards are. That's what's inside. That's what the batteries are built on. Sweet. And then these are the smaller. I have these. These are in seal lead acid. 12 volt, 7.5 amp hours are the standardized size for the UPS backups. And I find that's where this LTO is a really good fit for as well. So these are great for those kind of APC units, power backup units, kids ride-on toys. We do a lot. We do a lot on Amazon with kids' ride-on toys, specifically mostly Mattel, which is the Power Wheels brand. So
That's cool.
If people want, more sustained power, they have some speed controllers that give it fixed voltage, so you can get it a little bit faster, or you can go up in speed with just a 12-volt battery.
It's population control right there.
Yeah, for sure. Tony D was like souping up his kids' Power Wheels. You know who else does that? Alan.
Yeah,
Alan Hall.
I got one over here. I want to do one day.
Those like electric bikes and stuff like that.
I'm just gonna do 2 12-volts series. Call it a day.
Don't go that high. Go 18-volt.
No.
I'm trying to leave off the pad, dude. I'm trying to wheel it a bit.
You'll burn it. You'll burn up the gears. They're plastic gears inside.
You gotta go hard to go home.
I'm telling you, we do this every day.
Not 18-volt.
Yeah, 18-volt, you're good. If you go 24, you'll burn up the plastic gears from the start and stop. If you put in a inline resistor, you can give it a slow ramp up, slow ramp off.
Is it legit just RC battery motors in there, like those little small Titan?
Pretty much. Yeah. So yeah, and then the windings of it can change if the voltage and the speed. RPMs obviously dictate the speed. Torque is. They have if you want to be cheap, if you want to just go faster but not worried about torque because it's on dry ground. There's oh man, I can't think of the name. It's a magnet basically on the outside of the motor, and I can't think of what it's called. Somebody better tell me. But you take the magnet off, it reduces the torque, but allows it to spin to a higher speed. So you can get a higher top speed without actually doing any spending money.
Not a rev limiter?
No, it's just like we lost him.
Oh, fade.
He said rev limiter and just disappeared.
Dude, Trump got you. You're talking about secret stuff with Mattel toys.
I was taking a nap, and all of a sudden I get a on my phone, and who the hell?
Yeah, he got everybody today. Not your president. Hey, you got a text by him, bro. I don't know where he went. What a nub.
He's connecting.
God.
He's connecting. Said dial up.
It's a shit show. It's just a shit show.
What just happened?
Bruh, tell your kids.
That, or was that my computer?
That was your computer. Tell your kids stop watching 4K. Just watch HD.
It's time for a new laptop. I'm sorry.
You can send your kid this way. I got a gigabyte per second. We're fine.
Sorry, guys.
Bring all the tablets.
Get off Best Buy's wireless.
Shit.
I know they right on the corner, but come on now.
It's this laptop. At the time it was like a gangster ass laptop, but as with all things and lithium and car audio and all the things,
it's outdated.
Yeah, it's outdated. I need a new one. Shit. Anyway, what were we talking about?
Rev limiters.
Rev limiters. Is that what it was?
I don't
That's
know.
when you cut out.
Yeah.
Rev limiter?
No, we're just talking about the magnet on the outside of the 550 motor. So, I'll figure it out.
So, are you selling Life anymore?
No, I don't.
So all LTO all the time.
Yeah. The Ying Long cells that people are going about, I see that's everywhere right now too. That's I've tested them. So the thing is, there is new old stock that's actually test decent. It's just new old stock. But there is a lot of bad stuff out there. So what's going to probably happen, people don't realize, is China has a lot of trading companies. Basically, things get passed around. So if you're looking for the best deal, there's a reason why you're getting the best deal. Don't think just because you got the name and the spec sheet says it's going to do something, it will. I mean, I learned that early on.
What advice do you have for people out there that
do it yourself? I'm a West Mountain radio dealer. I'd be happy to sell you a $150 piece of equipment that will allow you to test the battery, or you could buy one cell and just test it, see how it does. You could charge
one cell from the batch or whatever.
Yeah, well, you could just order one cell from the factory manufacturer, whoever. If you're buying cells and you're looking to do it yourself, you're saving the most money. You're probably going to end up looking at used cells or new old stock. Be very cautious because it's people are misleading a lot of times in that market. It's kind of shady. This is how it is. I personally would never recommend anyone to buy used cells. Buy new cells that's in current production. If it's not in current production, you know, you don't know how long it's sat, how it's been sitting, who's been touching it, what they've been doing with it, how it's been stored. So that's a lot of factors that's usually overseas anyway. So it's hard to know those things unless you're getting factory fresh product. So, you know, if you're looking to save money, you trust where it's coming from, you can test the product. I would recommend avoiding the pouch cells altogether in any chemistry just because of the compression issues. It's not designed, you know, pouch cells will test high C rates. They'll look great in short test videos, but they cannot handle sustainable abuse. The internal pressures make them swell, making them very liable to heat damage. I've done you know, pouch cells with lithium manganese chemistry before, 16.8 volt, fully charged. But I always had them run at undercharged state, so they never were fully charged. That's kind of what a lot of these LTO DIY guys run 6S LTOs because of that voltage difference I was talking about earlier. They can't really take that extra 15 volt charge rate. It's too much for the DIYs in a 5S configuration. It kills those cells. My product, I've tested at 18 volts. I did it for 4,000 cycles, actually. This is it. This is the one that went through 4,000 cycles right
That's
here.
it? That's your LTO
And
right there?
Yeah, and it's still alive today. It's still right here. I can put it on a tester. It'll still test probably 50% initial capacity. It's not, you know, there's no smell. There's no leaking. 4,000 cycles.
At what
4,000.
depth of discharge?
Oh, in a 12, if you extrapolate it to 12 volt, which we would use in audio, would be 18 volt fully charged set point, 7.5 volt discharge set point.
Damn.
With the 10 seconds of rest between it. It was a 5C discharge, so it took 5 times its capacity discharge. At this rate, because it's a half capacity, it's a 10C discharge rate to itself. So that's why it's starting to degrade a lot faster now. It's you know, it's exponential at this point. But it also took a 2C charge rate. So that means at its current state, it's taking 4C charge rates, and it's still 50% its initial capacity, meaning the runtime of the battery is still 50% what it was when it was brand new.
Wow. So basically you beat the crap out of it and it's still
overcharged it at high rates and so it took a half hour, or it took 12 minutes to discharge and a half hour to charge with 10 seconds of rest. Took
Did you
4
do
months.
that manually, or did you have
4 months? No, West Mountain Radio sells all the equipment. I would be happy to plug you with the right guy. Yeah.
Oh,
like,
well, there you go.
$300, I get you set up. You can test. It just runs in the background. Your computer will crash probably twice on you, and you'll freak out, have to restart. It took 4 months for that test to go through.
Wow.
And that was at 5C discharge, 2C charge rate initial start.
Dude,
took 4
all
months.
you crackheads out there making IEDs, I'm talking to you, out there making IEDs, call
cycle test the
call
cell
and get one of these stinking whatever he's talking about.
West Mountain Radio. They're cheap. They're not expensive.
Put it
They're
next to your
worth it.
Bitcoin miners and run for 4 months and see what the hell is going to happen before you put it in your stinking car under your kid's car seat.
That is the best advice ever.
That's what I'm here for, cuz.
Stamp it.
Stamp. Boom.
T-Fate approved.
That's right.
What about them other ones? Somebody recently started selling those, I guess, used car ones that was used in electric cars.
Yeah, it's got to be like old.
Old what?
Old like Leaf batteries.
Yeah. No, what were they? Like
C-Max? You know what we're talking about?
You know who we're talking about?
Hank.
Yeah.
Or just say his name. That's
or someone else.
Yeah.
Just
no, isn't he called Beachiums?
Yeah, Beachiums.
I like it. It's clever.
I love Hank. I love Hank.
We all love Hank.
We love the show. He's awesome. He's fun.
I remember I tried to push him. I was going to put lithium under his hood, but I was going to build it for that application for him, and he wouldn't take it. I was like, you clown. But he was testing. He was testing some prismatics he got, I think, off Craigslist, and he bought a bunch of them, and they didn't test. They're like PO4, and he was like, "Oh, this will work." And I was trying. I talked to him for a while. He's got it now. I think he's got an idea.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like the pouch cell comment was
well, the thing is, see, he's using a mass-produced product that was factory fit for a certain application. It looks like he maybe modified or retrofitted the housing that it originally came in for some. And fine. I mean, he made a product for his application. It's not something I would, try to make $1 million off of. But if he's flipping them to make some money to buy some more gear,
Yeah.
let's see what he can do, man. I love
Make
seeing what
more
he can
IEDs.
do. Well, he can do some builds, Let's see what he can. I'd love to see some more builds out of him.
Yeah, he's a crazy person.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have Hank on next week, and that'll be 3 battery guys in a row.
Yeah. You can't never get enough batteries.
No. Hey, Kevin, are you going to finals?
No.
Why?
When is it?
That was so sad
Next
sounding.
weekend.
That was so sad sounding.
I never get to go anywhere. I got so much going on. I can't even get ahead. I plan for Slam, and I make sure I get to that.
I mean, as long as you make 1 or 2, yeah.
I honestly haven't been like I said, that's why I was talking about the team situation. I'd love to get somebody like who would want to be the leader of the team that could be organized, that could get a group of guys together in different areas and work together. And, I know like a lot of people want free stuff. I'd rather work the opposite. I'd like to see donations to charities and, a way to give back to, people in the community. And, I think a lot of people need to, learn. It takes, time to get where you want to be. And, everyone's trying to rush to get everything in their build or whatever. You got to see what's around you and make sure that, everyone's, got a chance. So, I think with a team atmosphere, you can do both. You can go group buys, often, get discounts, people working together can do a lot of cool stuff. I started with Juicebox. It was basically crowdfunding from, people who are willing to trust me and see what I could do. And I turned out a decent product. It built a reputation, and, here I am today. So, you got to see what you got, as everyone gets different opportunities, and got to take what you can. I'd love to get a car audio team together and spend more time in the audio side of things. But, I got so many things going on. It's always hard to stay focused.
A lot of irons in the fire. I think a lot of people can relate to that.
Yeah.
You don't actually do the Juicebox lead acid anymore, right?
No, so I have a whole bunch of Leosh high rate discharge batteries ready to be stickered if people want them. I just honestly haven't seen real use in the audio side of things to promote them. I sell them a lot to the marine applications, solar applications where they need storage. Putting my brand name on something, the reason with Juicebox, the name itself, there's so many people using it. I semi-secured the trademark, but it's just so much. I get so many. There's a company in like Ann Arbor here in Michigan that sold a DJ lithium power pack. Basically, I got godforsaken calls over this, and they're all upset customers. And I'm like, first of all, wait, you're on a different application. That's not even my company. Don't. So it was just better for me to kind of, with a different chemistry. I didn't want to get people mixed up that there's version A and version B. And again, this new battery's recharge rate is superior to anything out there. It's, if you have the alternator generation or you have the current supply, you could charge it from dead in less than 10 minutes. There's no product that safely can do that over and over again like this one can.
What are we talking about?
The MiSolar 12-volt, 16.5 amp hour module unit.
Oh.
And actually, even in the smaller size, it's just lower, rates. It's the same cells. And that's the coolest thing is I can eventually make multiple sizes. It is expensive to do multiple sizes, so that's why we stick with the one size mainly. There is no giant benefit to putting it in one housing. We have busing to link them up, so you don't lose current loss. There's nothing, ease of connections, things of that nature. So
yeah.
We find that seems to be the way to go.
You know what Juicebox is slang for?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that where?
Gorilla So.
Huh? Oh, okay.
Gorilla So.
There it is. Yeah. Taylor.
What is it?
Taylor doesn't know that. Don't tell him.
Oh yeah, he does.
I didn't hear what he said.
Decaf had that
Juicebox
remix.
Slang for Juicebox.
What? Like a apple juice?
Yeah, that's it.
Apple juice. Do I need to like Google something? I would Google it right now while we're on the show, except my laptop would probably crash.
I don't know what it is, but
Urban Dictionary. Juicebox.
Oh man.
Oh man. All right, you guys are gonna.
Gorilla Zoe song.
Yeah, the song. That's like one of the best like street beat songs. It was so constant.
No, it was like
Decaf
39 hertz,
remade
right?
it.
Did he really?
Yeah, it might be 39 hertz.
It is.
I think
yeah,
it is.
It's 38, I think. Yeah, 38.
Dude,
yeah.
that used to wreck shop in the CRX. In any music box I had, Juicebox was the first song I played.
Yeah, you did.
I don't know what it's slang
Yeah.
for, but
It's
Those
slang. It's slang for vagina.
Yeah,
Really?
right? Oh my god. The whole time we were talking about the song to be like discreet and
Really?
and you just got
it's slang for vagine.
Yeah, yeah. Juice box.
What the crap? That's a terrible
Hey, bro.
slang.
It's hip hop.
It doesn't make any sense.
Well, they call it a box. And
I get that.
juice,
Juice?
slippery, wetness.
What the fuck is juice?
Old people.
Actually, that was a pop culture reference. Purple drank.
Oh yeah.
What is
Yeah.
juice?
No, never heard that one. Is that what it? What? Why'd you come up with all fruit names?
That was
creative.
You
I'll tell
started
you why.
with
Because
beatboxing
people be
worked
like-
backwards.
D3100, D6500. None of that to people. They think power ratings 6500 watts, 3100 watts. It's confusing. That's the group size, and so I try to keep it as simple as possible. I want 2 apples, 3 oranges, 2 grapes. What you
Word.
So,
Hey, the banana was the truth.
Yeah.
Banana
Yeah.
was the truth. Hey, though, I'll tell you what, that black cherries was badass for the time that
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
offered
these
it, though.
the Leo high rate discharge batteries I have now would be actually more comparable than the black cherries were. So it's a slightly better product, and it'd be $289 shipped if anyone's really interested. I have them in
nice.
stock. They ready to go. Just there's no sticker on them. There's no 2-year warranty. Nothing fancy dancy.
So comparable to the black cherry, you say, just a little better?
It's a Group 31 high rate discharge, about 105 amp hour, I think, rated for 10 hours. So it's about 110 at 20 hours. It's a high rate discharge, so they don't really care about the 20-hour rating so much.
Yeah.
Flame retardant case, so you don't have to worry about nothing like that.
How about underhood?
As far as under the hood, I'd actually go with the Northstar product. They have a great ABS plastic. I have them in stock again, and their warranty's great, 4 years. Full throttle is the cheaper route if you want to do that too, but you'll see even some of those cases can swell. Same with excess power. Similar.
Really?
I have a full throttle.
They're good product, and you really don't have any issues unless you have some crazy heat or
Yeah.
bad grounds or something. Which is
Have you you and I have talked about this before. P.S. Skip, somebody said to get closer to your mic or talk louder or something.
Man, fuck them. Joking.
But speaking of underhood, and it's a lot of radiant heat. You and I have talked about like that sticker stuff at AutoZone and stuff. Have you ever actually tested that?
Skip.
What?
No, I was talking to you.
Oh,
Kevin.
me? Oh, shit.
I don't have anything.
I was going to say, I have a thermal imaging camera on my phone now. I have the Cat S61, great phone. So what I would do is just recommend anyone just to take some time, and even a temp gun would be fine. Locate an area under the hood where there's little to no heat and put the battery there if you're really adamant about putting it under the hood. Power transfer, you always want the energy closest to the source. So
There's
if you're
only
going to
one spot under the hood that people are going to be able to put batteries, though.
But
So-
I'll tell you this. You're right. But who says you need a battery underneath the hood? If you have
I
enough-
don't. Yeah.
Right. And if you look at today's modern cars, it's either if you have like a GM like SUV over 2010, it's like behind the passenger seat. It's not under the hood. If you are in a like BMW or Mercedes, it's usually in the trunk with maybe an accessory under the hood, depending on what models you have. Even like Fords, they still have they put the tiniest battery under the hood still. I think that's
and the worst sizes.
worst.
The worst.
2015's coming in last year for new batteries, and I'm just like, really? I'd go Ford. I'd raise hell. Like, I bought this car 2 years ago. Come on, man. Johnson Control.
Speaking of who needs a battery under the hood, Cal Olson, our buddy at Ill Customs, they sell blanks. It's a box with nothing in it with terminals on the top.
Really?
Yep.
Distro.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, because also, a lot of organizations require you to have a battery under the hood. So there you go. Put it right there. Distribute all your power generation and grounds and whatnot to the back, and you're in good shape. And they're really, really, cost effective for that solution. Because I don't know if anybody out there has ever tried to do whatever you need to do to delete a battery up front, but it's messy. It's messy. It's just there's no like really clean solution to do that. So a battery delete, quote unquote, is a great way to do it. Looks clean and safe way to do it. So there you go. And I think they're full throttle. You sell full throttle, right?
Yep, absolutely.
I think XS
Don't know
blanks too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what. So to get blanks, it's possible. I have 331 cases. I think I got like 13, 14 empty ones. And they're not crazy expensive, but the thing is to get them. It's they don't like giving them away. They want to know what you're using them for, what they're going in with the. So it's not so much a cost thing. There's what are you using them for, and that's kind of why you'll see like they're a little bit pricey when you look in the market. That's just a plastic case. It's not so much about the cost of the material; it's getting them. So
yeah, I think he won't sell them. Cal won't sell them to you unless you buy his battery toppers with it.
And I still think they're like what $50-$60 for a case or something.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. I don't know.
I think it's like $100 with the terminals, which is like a stock lead acid battery, which is great if you're not going to put one in the same price.
Yeah, and for like race car guys.
Exactly.
Speaking
of, I don't know if there's a huge demand, but I've got some requests. I'm making up some 6S packs for the racing audio community or racing community more so. It'll be a 14.4 nominal battery, so it'll be just like you had an alternator on there without so people that do race will look for a lightweight option. My 12-volt 16.5 amp hour battery is only 6 pounds. I could probably get this maybe less than a pound more, if not try to get close to 6.5 pounds.
Now you're talking Skip's language right there.
Yeah, I got a Honda. I need all the weight saving I can get, and I'm
a fast one.
Well,
it runs like 16s. That's fast. That's Honda fast.
That's not funny. Will
does though. I seen you on the list.
Yeah. But I said it's still funny that you said that.
Yeah.
Called me out about a 16-second phone.
Are you about to read the troll box?
Yeah. Will Mantlo, he said, so in the early days when there were issues with lithium, how did you handle those issues now? Like, what did you have to fix with the issues?
Before you get started in on that answer, I actually handle this on Facebook a lot, and probably because obviously you can't get to them all. But dude, the growing pains when you were getting started with the lithium, like when you and I would talk like every day about that thing and what was going on with it, and some people had issues. I never did. I beat the snot out of that thing, and I never had any trouble with it. So I don't know what other people were doing, but I mean, I hate to say it again, but dude, everybody that's selling lithium, everybody that's using lithium, everyone needs to like literally send you a message on Facebook and just thank you right now. Been like, I'm not gonna get graphic, but like for real. Because you went through all of that. You handled all of that heat, took all of that negativity and just kept on going, like just kept on trucking, Yeah. Because there were a lot of growing pains in the beginning. I never saw it. But I mean, personally, but I saw it on the forums. I saw it on Facebook. And I never saw you get out of control or get out of hand with it. And I mean, obviously I'm not privy to how you handled everything behind the scenes or whatever, but I mean, if you want to tell the people how you dealt with all that, go.
Will said, "Let the man answer."
Yeah, I'm just telling you, I was there for all of it, and
I guess it was just perception of the whole scene, huh? That's what it all boiled down to. It was something scary and new.
So the main concerns of first and foremost, as far as my product is concerned and the issues I face personally, there were some manufacturing quality, control issues I had when I was hand assembling still in the very early stages. It's especially on the terminal side of things, terminating two pieces of metal together without, welding them together. I had some different ideas and different methods of doing it, and not everyone worked. And the nice thing is I gave a warranty for a reason. I did it for the length I did for a reason. I had confidence that the product would last. If not, I'd be able to take care of them in that time. So, that's the main thing with understanding when you release a brand new product to a market that's never seen it before. You can't expect it to be perfect and work phenomenally every single day for eternity, especially something like batteries that die, that have a life expectancy that can be dictated by the usage. And it's really hard from a battery manufacturing standpoint to understand what the customer really did, what they're really using, and who's really doing what. So when failures occur, when they're few or far between or what they are, it's really always understanding the situation, understanding what could have been the cause, what couldn't be the solution, so this never happens again. And that comes with time, experience, and just work. And that's what makes something, today so easy and confident. And it's a lot more. People today don't second guess when they buy a lithium battery if it's going to arrive DOA. They know it's going to be perfect. They know it's going to work to spec, to the manufacturing spec, for the most part. There's some mismarketing out there. There's still people that don't really know what they're getting all the time. And, other people are at the hands of the building, and things can happen. One thing I like to do is keep all the building and assembly here, all the quality control here, additionally to the quality control done at the factory. So this allows me to have complete insight of what I'm giving out. I have discharge graphs that they see the full capacity of the battery. The input, the starting voltage of each bank in the battery, the discharge and voltage of each bank in the battery, to see how closely those voltage points are as relation to the capacity discharge. So if somebody did fully extend the battery back and forth, that the cells aren't unbalanced, nothing to be worried about. And, it comes with time. It comes with quality products. Again, used products, you really can't get any quality control. So people doing it yourself, just understand you're playing a game. Getting the right testing equipment will help you get ahead of the game, but you're still playing a game. You never know what that cell's been through and things like that. So with lithium early on, the questions, the concerns, people always worried it was like explosive, and it took till I think this year for an actual fire to happen in a vehicle. And
a couple of them in a row, actually. Huh?
Yeah, I believe, I'll tell you the truth. Lithium iron phosphate, after 2 years of abuse, hot heat, I think June of 2015 or 16 was my highest rate of any warranties I had. And it was due because of that, 2 years of abuse and high heat. It causes failure when you're beating it on them all day. They can't handle that. Like they're not new anymore. The cycle lives have been degraded. Those C rates have now expanded. The capacities have diminished, things of that nature. Damn. Spilled my water.
You sell lithium chargers?
Yeah. So I have constant. So charging. Let's talk charging real quick in car audio. That's a big thing. Everyone with AGMs wanted a charger. I need to charge my batteries. I want the best algorithm. Blah blah blah. What's all that shit mean? So we're talking about charge rates, C rates. We were talking about the max rate of an AGM being 1/3 its capacity, or 1/3 C. Again, that's in the beginning bulk start of the charging. Most chargers are at least 3 stages of bulk. And then there's a, what the hell, actually? Float? Yeah, bulk absorb. There's like bulk absorption. And then the midpoint is basically where it starts to roll down, and then it goes to a trickle charge, which is a lower state of charge till it's fully charged. And like a C-Tech charger or a NOCO Genius charger, they have more of these different stages. They'll have like a pulse stage, where if it's really deeply discharged, it won't give it that full 1/3 its capacity charge rate. It'll just give it in bursts. And you'll see that with like older styles chargers that have like a kick on, kick off. You'll see it peg out like golf cart chargers. You'll see that older style charger setups. So what that does is it's changing the amperage and the voltage depending on which stage it's in. With lithium, you usually want a constant current to a certain state of charge till the voltage gets a certain point, which is the set point. and then that voltage is steady, and the current is then diminishing as it charges. That's the chargers I sell. They're 14.0 volt set point. They work for lithium iron phosphate. They'll charge them to about 90-95%, which is ideal. You don't really want to fully charge them. That actually kills them a little bit as well. You want to avoid the top 10 and 20%, top 10% and the lower 20% of lithium iron phosphate for best life expectancy.
What about LTO? It works for LTO too?
Yeah, fully saturates at 100%.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How much are those?
The 10 amp chargers, $64.95. You can get them on Amazon. That's including shipping. The 20 amps are $174.95, but those also act as constant current power supply. So if you're just beating in the garage and you don't want to drain nothing down or turn the car on, you can actually run your system through it. Low volume, of course, 20 amps power.
Yeah, Scotty mentioned on the last show that his power supply could actually double as a lithium charger because of the nature of the
design. Yeah, this is voltage set point. It's kind of like actually an alternator. I know that's a huge topic of there.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, you could charge lead acid with a constant voltage set point as well. The battery will dictate how it absorbs the current. So depending on the conditions of the battery, it will do what it wants. It could get in a thermal runaway. It could cause damage if it had excess. That's the downside to that side. That's why there's specialty chargers that have algorithm for like gel cells or AGMs. They like to be charged slightly different. In fact, a lot slower is the outcome. They don't like to be fast charged.
What were the chargers that you were? Did you mention the name of them?
My chargers?
Yeah,
they're MiSolar energy chargers. Okay. MiSolar.
Oh, you can pick them up on Amazon though.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay.
We also have a 45 amp model too. That one's pretty badass. It's got the actual display that'll show you the current voltage and the amperage. It does 45 amps.
Oh, nice.
Same thing, power supply. So you could even be beating in the garage. Just want to see what kind of draw you got on low power. It will tell you.
Dude, that's dope. I need one of those.
Yeah, $289. Get it on Amazon. Ship it out tomorrow.
MiSolar, M-I, as in Michigan, right?
Yep. MichiganSolarEnergy.com or MiSolarEnergy.com. They go same place.
My charger has a lithium setting. Is that good? Is that good enough?
Yeah. So let's talk about that. So there's companies that have said that lithium settings are not safe for their batteries for certain reasons. Basically, the reason is like PO4 for having a high discharge rate ultimately inherits a high self-discharge rate. So it can take in more current. So being a slower amperage charger compared to the size of the batteries that they were making, it was still taking high rates of amps or high amperage by nature. It's because of the self-discharge and probably unbalanced pack, and thus causing cell runaway in one of the banks, causing failure. And so they said it was the charger's fault. A perfectly balanced pack in healthy state, the charger would probably work correctly, depending on the size of the battery. The battery is quite large. It still can cause that issue. One thing not to concern with the LTO product I sell is, again, I've tested and tried to oversaturate my product at about 15 volts. You cannot really get much more capacity into it. The charger would ultimately inherently kick off. I've used the specific chargers that were accused of doing this with my product and even with the A123 cells I used to use and had no issues. So that's something to be aware of. If they, some people might not understand how it works or fully get it. But with a BMS, that charging algorithm that those smart chargers uses, it automatically will always work. By the BMS will protect the battery, not because the charger will. That lithium setting does allow a voltage point, I think, to 16.8. So, I think even, in bad conditions, a healthy battery could take that but it shouldn't happen. It wouldn't likely never happen unless the pack was unbalanced.
Well, another hot topic. What about AGM and lithium together?
So again, it's the operating voltage of the two chemistries. Lithium iron phosphate with AGMs is not always ideal for long term because of the resting voltage differences. Again, depending on the conditions of the parasitic draws that are out there, the health of the AGM or lead batteries in the bank, causing draws to it. The more that lithium draws down, depending on the capacity, you got to think if you're using these, like, 15 amp hours is pretty, 15, 20, 25. That's standard now. Before it was 40 and bigger. That's not a lot of storage. It's really not when you have a 10 amp draw. That's 2 hours. Bam, it's gone, for a 20 amp. So it depends on what you got on, left on, things of that nature. It can really cause an issue. And when you fire up a car, and lithium iron phosphate is a prime example, will want to take a higher rate than it's stable to take comparative. So like it will take a 10C charge rate, but it's not going to like it. It can do it for a short 5-second burst and survive no problem. But if it did it for 30 seconds, it'll cause damage. And that's, again, where, health and life cycles come into play. And that process is just adding to that life cycle decay. So it doesn't matter if it's 1 day or 1 month. You're still doing some damage every day, 365 days a year.
You touched on it super briefly as a part of the charter, I think, but a big deal like early on was the BMS or the lack thereof, and seems like that concern has gone by the wayside now with like passive balancing. And is it balanced? How's it balanced? And such, and everybody's worried about balancing, and obviously BMSs are like high current BMSs are pretty much, yeah, they're out of our depth as far as
fusing.
Price.
Fusing is a great replacement to high amperage BMSs. You can blow a 200 amp fuse. Blowing 200 amps of MOSFETs is pretty expensive.
Right. So
that's ultimately what's protecting you with the BMS. It's no different than the output or input section of your amp.
So how do you have to address that in your LTO? What are you concerned with anyone else's stuff that's not balanced or fused? Or
if you want to actively balance, you need some source of power. That's always going to put some source of draw. You're adding to a parasitic effect to a storage solution. Not very ideal in most cases. In a constant charging situation, in a constant use situation, the low discharge of a balancer is usually, you go with a lower milliamp balancer, and counter it if you're not balancing as well. So if your banks are already out of balance, or usually what happens is you have used cells or lack of quality control. You get cells that are not in the same condition. And so one bank will have a higher capacity or higher nominal voltage than a different bank, and they'll operate differently. They'll take loads differently. So the key in successing a good battery is getting one that's uniform and all from the same, not only a capacity standpoint, but also the same nominal voltage, meaning that they're going to operate at the same voltage from one to another. Well, they might both take 200 amps, but one might drop to 3 volts, one might drop to 2.9. That's going to make a huge difference ultimately. On the end voltage, you see a 1/10 of a volt difference, nothing. But that's going to dictate the balancing of the pack. Now you would need a bigger active balancer to counteract. So you end up just fighting this constant battle. You really got a problem in the get-go. It's going to be there at the end too. It's kind of a Band-Aid fix that's not, if you're in a constant charging situation, it's not always bad. It's going to be there to help out. But if you're not, you're just again, eating at some life cycles and causing some charging and discharging that doesn't necessarily need to happen.
Does it get worse over time? Like if it goes to 1 goes to 3, 1 goes to 2.9, is it like?
Well, it's going to be exponential.
100 cycles down the road, is it going to be?
That's why it's so important to have things. That's why it's so important to have things, in the same life per se. You don't want cells that were used for 10 years and I shouldn't say that. Cells for used for 1 year mixed with cells from fresh cells and put them into one battery. You can have them as separate batteries, but to singular them and put them into one unit is not a good idea. What will happen is the newer cells will then be handling more of that current load. They're going to discharge their stored energy a little bit faster than this. What's going to end up having these, it just causes a bunch of problems.
Hey, that tester thing that you said you sell, yeah. What was it called? Western something?
West Mountain Radio.
West Mountain Radio.
Could you
use that? Could you use that to like match cells to like put into a certain battery?
So you absolutely can capacity check each cell and then it'll give you a discharge graph, and you can overlay the two graphs, and you can make sure that they're in line with each other, and then you can know what your cutoffs should be to keep them in line with each other. So as long as
one cell is like above or below like your nominal or whatever, like now we're getting into like professional stuff.
Yeah.
Like if you really want to DIY, like that's kind of what
you want to build
a
successful battery that will last the life expectancy of it, not from manufacturing issue.
Right. Because obviously you're not DIYing a damn, BMS in your garage, most likely.
No. A fuse is a great solution to prevent overcharging and over discharging. Now, again, most products are not equal. My product's equal, so fuse is the best solution. It doesn't really require one. I have smaller units that are 12 volt, 10 amp hours, but they are in the casing of a lead acid 12 volt, 12 amp hour, and that does have an 80 amp BMS in there with 5S active balancing.
What?
But it's a I think 50 milliamp active balancing, so it's a very, very minute balancer. I think self discharge over a month is about like 5-6%. So even that adds up over time. But that's actually a larger cell. It's not the 18650 size I use for audio. It doesn't have the power. It doesn't quite have the power density. It's more for energy density. But again, that's what we use a lot for these like ride-on kids toys and small battery backup situations. They're tiny. They're like 4x4x6, 3 pounds.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they're awesome.
I'm just about getting in to the point where we're gonna be doing Power Wheels again. I'm excited.
Again.
Remember we did one back in the day.
Spider-Man.
Yeah. He's like this tall now.
Yeah. He's got his own car now.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, we're gonna have to wrap this up.
K-Rod. Good, guys.
Yeah. I just want one question. Like.
Yes, sir.
All right, this is Everyday Audios. So a guy out there has got a stock alternator. He just wants to do a 3,000 watt amp. What's the product for him?
My LTO is for sure the greatest fit. You can keep the stock battery if it's healthy. I just take it up to a shop. Any shop usually has good enough testing equipment. Check the date code. If it's healthy, it tests to spec on cranking amps. Feel free to leave that in there under the hood for the time being. Make sure you properly do the big three. Properly run wire back to the battery. Locate it close to the amp as possible. And properly ground, terminate everything. And you'll be so happy you did. The alternator is going to produce about 100, say 80 amps with the vehicle running or so. If you have good power transfer, that you can even use almost 4 gauge probably, limited. But I would go up to 1/0 and run it to the back for sure, and to the battery. And then that charge source will make it there. The battery up front won't ever get used unless you drop below 12.8. Won't really ever happen. So you'll be laughing.
3K.
3K, that's 3K clamped. I don't really care what the amp says. Ampere 3800 does usually 2500 if you're wired at 1 ohm. So
you have load tests on the LT, the 16.5, huh?
Yeah, I got load tests. I got thermal imaging load tests. What do you want?
I think your channel is like the only channel on YouTube that has less views than Everyday Audios.
I watched it just
the other
day.
But it's awesome, dude. Your channel it's crazy. Anything you want to see gets beat up on your channel. It's crazy.
I just like the noise the tester makes.
Wow.
It's
just it's like I go to.
I had to change. We had to change the clips. We had to change the clips on it a couple times. Yeah.
Hey, did those things? I know this is a stupid question, like legitimately stupid question, but when you say like 200 amps on that thing, is it like a legit 200 amps? You know what I'm saying? Like if you clamped the leads on that load tester, would it actually be 200 amps?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the thing is you'll see the analog ones. That's just not a real adequate thing unless you're just looking to load test a car battery. You're getting high amperage stuff. Yeah, the ones. My favorite of the videos is when it's smoking. That's an accurate reading right there.
Yeah.
I remember back in the day.
To give a validation, they did have an amp clamp on it too, showing high current rates. But the voltage was probably
excess power got a lot of heat.
Is that when they clamped it wrong?
No, remember because like the clamp things did like this, and he had on the bolts and
Yeah,
then
that's what
on
I
the
said.
excess
He
power.
he clamped it wrong.
Yeah, and
he
it was
clamped
like
on the pad.
right.
Yeah.
And it was smoking and like
red.
it was all
Yeah.
yeah.
That was fun. It was like one thread in.
Right.
Clamp.
I mean, that wasn't Scotty. I think
Yeah,
it
I
was
know.
like some random.
So
random
these
dude.
Leosh AGMs I have, they're copper threaded terminals. So there's a
Is that you keep saying
Le-
that name like
Laotian?
we're supposed to know?
Oh yeah. So
From Laos?
no. So there's like
They out here making batteries?
I know.
Laos is making batteries? again?
every. It's a large manufacturer from China. They are probably making a large product. You know what you see out there is probably a large portion of
China has all the lead, all of it.
For your when you think about like the
And
smaller
ferrite.
steel lead acid batteries, like truthfully, I could wire up a bunch of these smaller 12-volt batteries, steel lead acid batteries, and get a 10C, 15C discharge rate lead acid battery.
That's what I'm
Change,
talking about.
sure, but you know what? Its capacity is basically nothing, and they'll be up in 6 months.
You know that they used to do that, right?
Yeah, what
You
was the
remember
one
those?
company? Well, they busted. It was still like
The
Group
Cactus.
24s. Yeah.
It was a Cactus CS 9000, and actually, not to call out one of our former guests, but J Home and B2 actually have one. The B2 better battery. It was a bad mofo though. I think it was like 5 or 6. What are those little ones? 680s.
Oh, the 1220s. They're 12-volt, 20 amp hours. Yeah. They make them at 18. They make them up to 22. Depends if you want high rate, if you want storage.
I don't know. Why doesn't anybody make those anymore? You should.
Oh, they do. Leosh makes them.
Oh,
I can
here
put a
we
sticker
go.
on them and sell them.
Why I shouldn't interrupt the guests anymore.
So these are readily available products that you could get, but the problem is you need to make sure you're buying the right model from the factory. What you'll find out your batteries and bulbs is the standard, basic storage unit. It's not going to be the best for audio, but you can request it. And if they don't know what a high rate discharge battery is, they shouldn't work at a battery store. Personally opinionated, but it's what it is. And
Dude, you need to get some of those and sell them.
Here's the thing. It's the charge rates. You're going to have, a 20 amp hour battery taking 6 amps of input. It's going to do you no good.
Yeah,
but comparative to,
they're burnt batteries. They're burnt batteries.
I could sell you this battery for $160, which is just a 6 amp hour version. It's just a third the capacity and runtime of the bigger 12-volt, 16.5 amp hours.
I haven't looked lately about the rules and the rules on most organizations' lithiums because I really haven't had to lately. But I wonder if that would benefit anyone. The that bust up battery, or if they could just use your
going to clamp now. It doesn't even matter about batteries.
Yeah, that's
anymore.
true. That's why I was like trying to decide why I haven't had to, and that's true. Everything's going clamp nowadays.
Well, that's why you need higher input voltage, which would be awesome to have a product that took variable input voltage that would give you a regulated fixed output voltage to increase your output power.
Yeah, but it's still going to be the same on the screen.
No, it's not.
No?
So if you have
Kevin's talking about cheating.
No, it's not cheating.
I got a knob.
There would Mike Dio there should be a knob on it.
He said that he made that board in your hand.
He made that board. One of them
did. He made both of them. He's my slave.
I thought he was kidding.
No, I'm waiting on some software. We're waiting on some software for this fangle dangle product I'm trying to spit out right now.
I'm waiting on Gandalf. So shit on your damn board. I'm waiting on my damn amp.
Fun fact: Mike D's podcast is the lowest viewed video on our.
Oh,
got him! Bang bang bang! Fuck you.
We're gonna have to have him back on now.
Nah, like Mike.
Because he got the VCI 2 dropping. He's got obviously a variable voltage batteries dropping with Kevin, like a joint project. And
VTech.
Yeah, it's like a base knob for your batteries with voltage.
Pads. You got VTech pads.
For real. Y'all laughing, but that 42% increase though.
Hey, Scotty said he had some kind of secret coming out, bro. It's with lithium too.
Yeah. I mean, we had to make sure to make sure that it was going to be a part 2 because he has like so much secret stuff coming. Do we need a part 2 for Kevin at Juicebox MiSolar?
Now, no, I'm joking.
I barely made this part. It's crazy.
We barely made it through part 1.
Winging it.
Right? Just had to have the girlfriend come in and all that.
Food.
I spilled my water.
At least you didn't spill your beer.
Yeah, food getting cold.
So what do you got coming down the pipe? And we'll wrap this up, man. Tell the people what you need to tell them. And
you know, basically, here's the issues going on. Basically, lead prices are going up. Lithium prices are going up because of tariffs and stuff. Everything is going up. Now's the time to get stuff. It's only going up. And, you know, that's my word of advice to everybody out there is, you know, right now you might not think it's the good time to buy, but I've had to increase my price once already. I may have to do it again. But if I could keep volume up, I've been working with another company called Solar Tech. They make the aero construction signs. They want to use this product. If people can help me out and give them a shout and tell them how good this works for their application, they want test results. I think Real People in Audio would be a great example. They want the same product. So, you know, I'm keeping busy, keeping that going. I'm making new sizes. I always, like I've said before, I can always, make a custom encased unit if you have space issues. But the reason I do the modular thing is for a reason. You know, it's the most cost-effective way for everybody.
How much is the 16.5? How much is the LTO?
$389. And
so we're not talking about much more than a G31.
Right, and it's
how big is it?
Cheaper.
How much does it weigh?
6 pounds, 10 1/4 inches long, 4 1/4 wide, 3.5 tall.
6 pounds, dude.
6
for
pounds.
3K.
Yeah.
For 3,000 watts of support.
Yeah. For $389 you get I got a 4-year warranty on it. The first year is free replacement, 3 years is prorated after that. There's nobody out there with a lithium warranty like that. I can confidently do it. I've tested, like I said, I got the cell behind me that's been through 4,000 cycles, and it's still got 50% the capacity. So I dare somebody to come at me with some crazy usage. And if you have, I need to see these videos because where are they at? That's a lot of demoing, man. So I'm really excited.
We need to link one of your load tests into this video here for the LTO.
There's plenty out there.
That's just impressive, man.
Yeah, for sure.
I need like 7.
7? All right, I got it.
Now, does that double? 3,000 watts each battery? So it's 21,000 watts?
Yeah, and here's the craziest thing. If you had 21,000 watts of generation, you can sustain a 42,000 watt system enjoyably, daily, continuously, till the end of the discharge, which is about 6 minutes if you're beating on it heavy.
So it's like 40 pounds of battery.
I know. It's crazy. I love lithium. Yeah. I don't know what to tell you. I've been a believer since day one, literally.
Is there always going to be a space for AGM just because of the price?
Yeah, and the reserve.
Yeah, exactly. So
I try to tell people it's like a safety net,
In audio applications, it's a good fit for somebody that's not doing the proper necessary wiring. They got smaller gauge wiring to the back. You're only going to get that 30 amps anyways.
Yeah.
So small builds, AGM under the hood. There's some great options. It definitely gives you cranking power in the wintertime. AGMs they're not a bad product. They never have been. The issue has just been the cost. If I could get what I was paying for them, I'd be having, $229 batteries again. I would love to do that. But even my cheapest option is $289 right now. It's made by Leosh, and I'm not, upselling nothing. It's just, I'm selling a product that's in a warehouse. That's a great product that I would put my name on it if I felt like it.
I'm totally putting one of the LTOs in the back of the Bolt. I'm going to take that stupid shit out from under the hood. Run 4 gauge to the back because I don't know what the recharge is, but if it's anything like your Volt, you say it's like 100 amps, huh?
So on the Bolt, I'm pretty sure it's the same as like the Volt, which is actually a DC to DC converter, and it's like 150 amps. So yeah I mean, I actually might say the LTO could pop that, but I don't think you'll discharge it hard enough to get it to do that. But
yeah, I'm all over that. That's happening.
Got factory warranty still, right? Yeah. They ain't watching. They ain't watching.
Hey, look, it's already messed up. Somebody didn't hit it, so I might as well just start cleaning it up with base.
It came like that. What are you talking about? It came with the solar panel and the battery in the back. What the hell?
Perfect time to mod it when you get in a wreck.
I can't wait until somebody has figured out to go into the OBD2 and like, get a little more
Bypass.
juice out of that stinking motor.
Oh, they can all day.
They have to, dude.
It's a line of code. No, I know it is.
Dude, there's a guy that does it for Teslas. I
Dude,
just
you
need
see
like
that?
another couple thousand watt. Give me like
I have-
180 kilowatt.
I have these gem cars. They're 72-volt golf carts, basically 4-seaters. One's enclosed. I think Polaris owns them now. It was Chrysler. Yeah, you can. They're GE controllers. You can modify them, get them like 35 miles an hour.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I need. Where you at? Where are all the bolt hackers out there?
Yeah.
Good luck, man.
You got to jailbreak your car.
Pretty soon.
I did a little research back in the day, and everything said you break your car, they ain't touching it. And I'm like, well, I ain't touching it then.
No, it's actually pretty quick as it is. I'm not gonna lie.
Exactly. That's how you feel after you read that too. Yeah, that was quick
fun to
enough.
drive. It is super fun to drive. Anyway, all right, Kevin. Well, I appreciate you coming on, and
No problem,
man, I
guys.
tell you, I think we all learned a little something here.
Yeah. I got one advice. I know you're super busy, but online Facebook presence means a ton in today's game.
Yeah.
So get to posting.
Get to posting.
You got a ton. Just like throw out a
well,
long-winded paragraph about information. People will.
Well,
eat it
look,
up,
he's looking for a team captain.
Yeah,
Maybe that's what the team captain needs to be doing.
Maybe. The PR guy.
Yeah,
you want to split the PR duties, Skippy?
Yeah, right. You guys want to go
I'll
in on this?
post sick memes.
Look, we'll put juice box. We'll put MiSolar on these walls back here, cuz.
I'll do a sick meme.
I do a sick meme. That's great.
No, this was this was
Yeah, it was absolutely informative, entertaining, infotaining.
I forget your girlfriend's name, but tell her I appreciate her.
Alexis.
Her Alexis. Shout out Alexis. She got.
I honestly thought you were hollering at
on
Amazon Echo Dot whenever she walked in the room.
Oh my God, my niece is 3 years old, and she goes, Amazon's downstairs, Echo is upstairs, because. So like we don't even have an Alexa. We have Amazon named and Echo, and the 3-year-old already knows which one to yell at where she's at.
Yeah,
so it's pretty cool.
It's gonna be scary.
That's
gonna be scary.
All right,
Yeah.
well, T-Fade.
Yeah.
You out?
Skip
I'm
over
out.
Kevin
So I just-
Ross.
K-Rod.
I'm hitting this big red leave button.
Word.